As of April 2024, Ermac is the latest legacy character to make their way into Mortal Kombat 1. To continue the trend of covering both ninja and legacy characters, and to celebrate the launch of the latest character, we're going to take a look at the rumor-turned-real boy, Ermac, and rank all 13 of his designs from the worst to the best.
Fight! We are many.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening everyone. Nick here, and welcome to, or welcome back to the channel. We are covering the spectral ninja of Mortal Kombat, Ermac, formerly known as Ermac. This fighter, made up of thousands of souls, has always been a standout despite his very limited appearance. Seriously, no kidding, he only has 13 costumes to go over today. For being such a fan favorite, he's appeared in half the titles. Still doesn't mean we can't talk about his designs over the years, which have changed quite drastically. So today we're going to be ranking all 13 of his designs based on how cool I think they are, how well it fits the character, and even if it does something new, how well it succeeds at what it's trying to do. For anyone new to the series, here are the ground rules for the series of ranking costumes. Rule number 1, I'll only be basing off the original costume from a title. If it is repeated, such as classic skins remade as DLC, that'll only count as one placement. Rule number 2, I'll only be looking at the games. This means I will not be factoring any live action or animated interpretations of the character. The less said about MK Annihilation, the better, trust me. Rule number 3, no gear pieces or variations. I'll only be going off base designs without gear or color alterations. No alterations from MK1 will be factored, and since he didn't playably appear in MK11, and we won't have to worry much since he has quite a limited set from Mortal Kombat 1. And finally, at rule number 4, we're not going to be including any story exclusive costumes. He does appear a few times in MK1's story without the mask or with Jared's face, but those won't be factored, and thank the elder gods. Ermac has just launched as of April 2024, and this is the current set of costumes I'll be working with, and as of right now, only one DLC fighter has received an extra costume, being Quan Chi. If Ermac does get a DLC costume later down the line, please stay tuned and I will try to correct that. Also, just remember that this ranking is just my opinion, it's not the definitive list. Alright, with that, let's get up from taking a nap at the bottom of the pit, gather your thousands of souls, and reinstall your antivirus protection to remove any error macros as we rank all 13 of Ermac's costumes from worst to best. For the longest time, I really didn't know which of Ermac's designs was the worst. I thought Ermac's design in the Kombat Pack reveal trailer looked pretty bad, but after a few updates in the story and with where we're at now, it's loads better. But for now, the worst of Ermac's costumes goes to Pharaoh Ermac from MKX. I'm noticing a little trend here for the Halloween costumes. Either you're a Blizzard King, Sub-Zero, and Vampire Melina, or you're a Kraken Reptile and now Pharaoh Ermac. This one just comes off a bit forgettable. Sure, the rotten skin looks pretty nice, but that's honestly the only positive I have with it, especially with that green glow. There's really nothing special about it or anything that retains Ermac's magical charm. Now I know some people could say it's just a themed skin, it doesn't need to, but as I've stated before with the Blizzard King and Vampire costumes, they managed to fit the character perfectly and it just looks amazing on its own. This one's just extremely ugly. Sorry Ermac, back to the tomb you go. Just moving ahead to number 12 with Ermac's PS2 run with this alternate costume from Deception. I know many of you really like both Ermac's designs from this game, some putting this one in your top 5. Unfortunately, I would have to disagree. Compared to Ermac's other designs, and even this base one, it's just a little too bland if you ask me. It's just some red stripes along the vest and some pants, along with baggy black under it. I do appreciate the weird green shin things he has on, something other costumes would definitely retain, but I'd wish they'd fix his hood. I just don't like the hair being exposed. I'm just more surprised to learn that he even has hair after all these years. I also don't like how much they expose his body in this one too. If they wanted to show him off, I'd like to see his skin looking less defined and more sorcerer-like to highlight the magical side of him. Not everyone needs the body equivalent to a power lifter or something like that. Honestly, it is pretty cool that some Ermac designs would just have him look skinny and frail, but that's for later. Overall, not terrible or bad, I'm just not a huge fan of this one. Just kinda lacks soul. Jumping back into Mortal Kombat X with Ermac's tournament Kombat design. This one is based off his amazing design from Mortal Kombat 9, but is really toned down and looks a lot worse in my opinion. For one, more skin is exposed compared to the MK9 version, and it has the same issue with many of the MKX costumes by removing a lot of the color. This also resembles the Deception base design with a mix of MK9, but a pop of color and avoiding the mummy look could have helped bump it up quite a bit. It just looks a little too desaturated and a little sloppy if you ask me. Now I understand that could be a way to modernize this look, but if they wanted to make it look polished, they could have just harked back to the MK9 look and had it look more cleaned up. Not terrible or bad, but if this costume were in a tournament, it would be eliminated? What, were you expecting a better pun out of me or something? Moving on. We are entering the top 10 with the third and second to last MKX costume, that being his base design. A bit of an upgrade over his MKX look, but still not amazing. They did add some more clothing onto this one. Big notice is the hood that he has on it, but it also does include some weird cartoonish looking stitching onto the costume, along with more cloth armor around his torso. He now has a longer loincloth around his waist, fully making him look more like a sorcerer than a ninja. There are plenty of things that I like that they did with this costume, but the color desaturation and wraps around the face could have been done better. If they really wanted to give that desaturated fit to look well, along with making the wears and tears on the body look better, then take a look at the scrapped concept art for him in MKX. If they went with this easily would have been top 5 material. I mean, look at him. He just looks so shredded. By that I mean by his clothing. Though we aren't finished looking at MKX, I'd say this is where we started entering the C tier moving up. So let's finish up MKX with the next placement. Our top MKX skin coming in at number 9 is the Crimson costume. Similar to Gold Demon and Blue Steel, Ermac got a course themed skin to celebrate the launch of MKXL, or the definitive version. If you ask me personally, this is the best design of Ermac from this game, which is honestly a little weird saying that out loud. The red is sleek and it really pops well with the black body and white eyes. Similar to my complaints with Sub-Zero's version, I really wish they did something to make it pop a bit in comparison to Gold Demon and Blue Steel, outside of just a color change. My idea would have been Scratches as a replacement for Decay to make it his own. Besides that, this one's just pretty good. Not much else to say it just sticks to the course by resembling the classic design really well. Speaking of classic designs, we're looking at his classic design from MK9. Technically, this would be his MK Classic from the arcade, but he didn't make his actual debut until Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. It took us until 2011 to get an actual 92 version of this costume, and damn it does it look good. It doesn't do too much by making it not feel classic by adding too many weird elements, it's just a palette swap of the MK Classic set for this game. Similar to what they did with Cyber Sub-Zero Classic, it feels like this was always there, even if there was images that existed of the classic costume but were just made up so the developers could mess with us a little bit more. Overall, a great classic that doesn't go out of style. Let's hypothetically jump ahead a few more classic titles and look at Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 with Ermac's playable debut. After Ermac is in your control after pressing high punch, low punch, low punch, block, 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 4 low kicks and 4 high kicks, you're presented to a solid Ermac look. Now I've bashed on this set of costumes quite a bit when covering the other ninjas, but I think they nailed the color and tone and saturation as well with Ermac. The red doesn't come off too shiny or bright, and it's the right level without being too matte either or being too glossy and shiny. Minor nitpicks are still present, like the butt stripe, but it's not as present in here in comparison to the other guys. Another good design done better in here than MKX because he looks so shiny, wet, gross, plasticky, and I'm so happy I'm not judging that one. Overall, a good way to formally introduce this character. Entering number 6 with Ermac's 5th appearance being the 2011 reboot with his base design. Full disclosure here before we move ahead, I want you to know there is a huge gap between numbers 7 and 6 because this is such a huge jump in quality. This was Ermac's introduction for many people that I know, and what a good way to showcase it. He resembles some cool elements from his MK Deception self, such as the wraps around his head instead of the traditional ninja mask. However, it's less puffy and it makes black the primary color with some red accents to the suit. I also love the green orb on his belt along with the green eyes and the little emblem on his head, something carried over from the PS2 era. I rarely have any negatives to say with this costume, I just think they nailed it. A great costume for a great game. Entering number 5 with probably the biggest hot take, but it's going to Ermac in the new era, Mortal Kombat 1. Honestly, if this were the Ermac shown off in the Combat Pack reveal, this would have been the bottom spot. Thankfully, they fixed him in the story and for the launch, and I honestly think he looks better. Finally, the team added a mask and a few updates to make him enter the top 5. They reimagined him to be more zombie-like, using a dead body as a vessel to house the souls. Unlike in the Kombat pack reveal, where his skin just looked kinda weird in the light. His skin almost looked like sandpaper in terms of color, it just didn't look natural or real, but it didn't also look spooky either, it just looked off. And even without the mask, they did a good job fixing his face too, like he has some weird fangs, they even added some textures to the face as well too, mainly aging and zombification, just to make it pop a bit more. Matching with the theme of the new era by giving him more robes, creepy decaying skin, some little markings on his white skin, and some traditional ninja stuff to hark back to his original timeline look, that being the mask, leggings, and small gauntlets. I know many are mixed on this game in general, and many were mixed to mixed negative on Ermac's look, but I think they nailed it with the recent character launch. They took risks with the reimagining of the new era, and I think it paid off. I'm happy with what we got at the end of the day.
Ermac wins.
Speaking of reimagining, we're taking a look at the retelling of Mortal Kombat 2 with Shaolin monks. Though Ermac doesn't appear in the multiplayer or main story, he does appear in a fun secret fight when you visit the old warrior shrine from classic MK, harking back to the rumors of his existence. It's a fun secret fight, though his design is extremely similar to his Deception design, but adding some gold accents and making him a little less detailed, but popping the color just slightly. Even with those little downgrades, he still looks really good. It's a little treat for how little he's in the actual game, and it really reminds me I need to get ahead on all Shaolin monks finishers ranked. Also, speaking of Deception, we're entering the top 3 by looking at the base design from Mortal Kombat Deception, which is Uncommon Oddity's top pick. Go watch his ranking when you're done with this, and I'm looking forward to working with him soon. Very similar to the previous entry from Shaolin monks, but includes a lot more detail to make it stand out a bit more, along with removing some detail to make it pop a bit extra. They do remove the gold accent, which I think is a strength, and helps focus on the black and red he's known for. I do love the emblem on his wrapped face, the glowing eyes, and how much the red really pops in this outfit. The pattern on his torso looks amazing, kinda resembling the MKX look on his leather armor, but done much better. And I do love the shin guards. This does a great job resembling his ninja roots in some way, but still making him feel like he is a sorcerer. Mainly the focus on having some baggier clothing instead of some tight, stealthy clothing that you'd see other ninjas wear. Which, spoiler alert, I can say the same thing for the next 2 coming up. For now, Deception Ermac Soul snags the bronze medal of all Ermac designs. Our runner-up is probably everyone's favorite Ermac design and the one that was number 1 for a while, that being his alternate costume from MK9. Back when I first saw this costume in Kratos' gameplay trailer 13 years ago, damn that feels so long ago, I immediately said to myself, please let this be in the game. Thankfully, the Elder Gods heard my words and this made an appearance, being one of the few 10 out of 10 designs in MK9. They masterfully made him look all spectral with a killer looking mask. One of my favorite little details with this is how his eyes are the only thing exposed in this costume. Instead of the green belt from his base kit, he has the belt and symbol back from the MK Deception and Shaolin monks designs. Another cool detail is that they don't give him a ninja vest like for Scorpion and Sub-Zero. He has some ninja elements, but he's just a sorcerer now. I also love the balance of black and red with this costume too. It looks great. I would call this the best design, but there is just one more that I consider the best design. This rightfully deserves the silver medal with a badass seal of approval. Falling into our number 1 spot is... Sorry to remind you of this, but honestly, this is the best design right here. Number 1 goes to the Mortal Kombat 11 redesign from the Crypt. I'm honestly not sure why the team understood the assignment and did the bonus extra credit for a non-playable character, but this is the best he's ever looked. They made him look extremely magical while retaining some of this ninja element, that being the mask. I love the multiple shades of red, black, and some gold accents added to the design, along with even the green jewels on the hands and shins. That's just a nice little addition. Some would have stated it's a bit over-designed and it has a lot going on, but I think all the magical accents help make it pop a bit more from his previous outings. For how amazing this costume is, it's a real disappointment this wasn't used for a playable Ermac in this game, but it is great to see modders like Dibs, who posted videos on his Twitter and channel altering MK1 Ermac's look with this design. design. I really hope we get to see this costume return in MK1 for Ermac. If Quan Chi was able to get some extra costumes as DLC, then bring some for Ermac, please. And for now, MK11's Ermac is the best Ermac design of all time. And there you have all 13 of Ermac's costumes ranked from worst to best. Which of his designs was your favorite and which was your least favorite? Comment down below and let me know. Also, would you like to see the unused MK11 costume as a bonus costume in MK1? Let me know down there too, and let's have a fun discussion about it. Thank you again for your constant support on all costumes ranked lately. It's been a fun time bringing this back. Also, I've seen the comments for more characters to be featured, both from MK and other fighters. I'll put 2 polls out this week for all costumes ranked, one for MK and one for non-MK characters. Be on the lookout for that. Also, I've been working hard on getting finishers ranked back on the channel. YouTube's strict guidelines on violence has really burnt me out when doing MK1 finishers ranked, and I really needed a break from finisher content only for it to be age restricted. I am doing my first re-rank for the poster boy in a couple of weeks, so I hope to see you there soon, along with a few more varied finisher ranking videos. Until then, thank you so much for your continuous support. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. It really helps the channel a ton. My name is Nick, and have a smooth rest of your day.
Fight!